Okay, this is an adventure right here, and story time, song time. Oh my gosh, when Nedra and I, Shane and Otsley and Jewel and little baby Vance's mother and I lived here, 1969. So I don't know what's that, almost 60 years ago, I guess. Uh, this is our first home right here, this little cabin. Some people called it, at that time, called it the Miller cabin because they bought it from the Russells, Ma and Pa Russell. And Ma and Pa Russell, I don't know when they built this place, 40s, maybe it was homesteaded before then. I'll have to do some research. But anyway, Ma and Pa Russell had a wagon and a buggy and horses. They'd go down the beach and come up our road to get to town. And in the early days, my sister Mossy would come up here and stay with Ma and Pa Russell. I just barely remember them, but this cabin's got a lot of history. So the Millers bought it, and they said, sure, you can live in it. So Nedra and I lived here while we built a house just up around the corner on some land, 160 acres that my uncle owned. And my uncle said, first one of us kids, my dad's kids, because my uncle didn't have any kids, first one of my nephews and nieces wants that land, I'll sell it. So we made a deal for the going rate at the time, $50 an acre. So for $8,000, I was going to buy that 160. Nedra and I lived here every day. We went over there and we worked on the house. We got it closed in, and then I decided to go to college, and one thing went to another, and we decided not to come back to Alaska. But then we did, after all, after I went to college 6 years, but by then the land had sold. So years later, I came up here with 2 horses, an Appaloosa and a blaze-faced, stocking-footed sorrel horse. Took them both to get serviced by a stud up there in Hogan's Slough. And so I left her saddle here, took them up there, turned them loose, walked back here, and then I think I came back later and got them, stopped here and picked up my saddle and rode them back. But I was sitting here reminiscing about the old days. There was birds in the trees, pheasants down there. Back then, the old believer Russians who settled in this area, they used to just anchor their boats out there in the mud flats, and they'd be laying on their side, kind of keeled over. And but what prompted this song, called "Do You Mind If I Leave Mine Too?" I was sitting in this cabin once thinking about all the people that lived here, because anyone who came through here in those days would stop and visit. And I thought about all the footprints, if you could see them, layers of footprints on the floor. And then my mind got to wondering a little bit, and I thought, what if these logs absorb sound, just like a phonograph record? It's got grooves. You cut a tree cross-section, it's got growth rings. I thought, what if all the growth rings in these logs absorbed the sound and you could play old conversations? What if you could hear all the footprints, all the feet that walked on this floor? It's a hazy sunshine, Swift Creek morning, bareback Appaloosa mare. Got a long wing feather from an eagle in my hair, salt breeze in my hair. I'm leading a blaze-faced, sockin'-footed sorrel. They both been to see the stud, cavorting in the cottonwoods at Hogan Slough, slipper sliding in the Fox Creek mud. Gonna stop at the cabin for a quick cup of coffee. I got a saddle that I stashed there. Gonna sit on that bench, soak up the sounds and the sights that fill the air. Sparrow in the trees, pine groves beak and a sparrow in the trees. The pheasants in the field below, Russian boats on their side, outgoing tide, and time is moving slow. So slow, but I slip into my mind, go back to another time, while rolling fields were growing green and the cabin was still new. And I think of those before who walked this cabin floor. You've all left your footprints here. Do you mind if I leave mine too? Well, back on Bear Paw, riding down the beach, now I'm thinking about old Black Babe, pulling that buggy with Ma and Pa Russell, those many beach trips they made. From a horse to a tractor, Unimog 4x a 98 pickup on the beach. But here at the cabin, you can't see the change, and the past is within my reach. Here on the beach, where I can slip into my mind, back to another time, while rolling fields were growing green, the cabin was still new. And I think of those before who walked this cabin floor. You've all left your footprints here. Do you mind if I leave mine too? And I slip into my mind, back to another time, while rolling fields were growing green and the cabin was still new. And I think of all those before who walked this cabin floor. You've all left your footprints here. Do you mind if I leave mine too? You've all left your footprints here. Do you mind if I leave mine too? Well, heck, I came this far from town to here. It's about, I don't know, 25, 30 miles. But I could drive right down the Russian Switch back down the beach here. So this next song I'm going to sing Acapulco because I don't remember the chords. It's a song that's on our first album, Early Morning Gold. It's called With Nature All Around. Well, I was raised in the country a long, long time ago. My daddy never let me see no picture shows. I asked him the reason why, and he'd tell me with a frown, you'll see a picture every day with nature all around. Well, I'm gonna raise my kid just like my pa raised me, out by the hills and lakes and cottonwood trees. Sitting on a grassy knoll with silence all around, something, something, silence all around. My kids will be running down the trails we used to run, winding through the birch trees, shining yellow in the sun. Sitting on a grassy knoll, I knew there was a grassy knoll in there, without a sound. breathing in the silence of nature all around. Well, I've learned a great deal the years I've been away. Wrote this song, came back from Vietnam, saw this land here through whole different eyes. I've seen a good part of the world, but now I'm coming home to stay. Just me and the one I love, and here's where we'll be found. Breathing in the silence of nature all around. That was my only dream. Came back from Vietnam. This is where we're gonna live, up there, raise cattle. My kids will be running down the trails we used to run, winding through the birch trees, shining yellow in the sun, sitting on a grassy knoll without a sound, breathing in the silence of nature all around, breathing in the silence, la-da-dee-da-doo-da-doo-da-da. I can still hear the music in the recording. Go to any one of the platforms, look for Early Morning Gold, Atz Kilcher, Silence All Around. It's a beautiful song. At that point, you know, I was 22 or so. I just wanted to raise my kids the way I was raised, with nature and silence all around. So a little shout out to the beautiful cabin where I used to come and reminisce. So glad my sister still owns it and is taking good care of it. And this is where my first wife and I dreamed, sank our roots, put in a foundation of our dreams. And now our kids are grown. Oldest son's got grandkids. Time has flown since 1969, but and though we're not together anymore, you know, a lot of our dreams were realized. Got a wonderful family, so good spending a moment with you here in this special place, reminiscing a little.